In this video, we're going to cover competition analysis and a little bit on how I look at a keyword and what's currently ranking to determine if I can compete against the sites that are already ranking or not. So the big question whenever we have a new keyword that we want to maybe consider is, can I make it onto page 1 in Google with this keyword? So to understand this, we have to look at the types of sites that are currently ranking on page 1 for the target keyword or keywords that we're considering. This right here tells you whether or not your site actually has a shot of making it onto page 1 of Google. So what types of sites are ranking when you look? Do you see a lot of big brands, e-commerce stores, social media sites like Pinterest, forums, Web 2.0s, random blogs, other affiliate sites? We have to really take notice of what's currently ranking in order to consider if we can actually make it onto page 1 with our site and our target keywords. So as you look over what you see ranking on page 1, you need to be able to identify opportunities for you and your site to rank. So at a minimum, you need to see at least one weak site on page 1. And obviously, the more weak sites that you see, and the weaker that those sites are, then there's going to be even more opportunities for you to come along and take some of those ranking spots. So, for instance, if you see other affiliate sites ranking on page 1, that's an opportunity for you to rank on page 1. If you see forums or Pinterest boards ranking, those are also opportunities. If you see the New York Times or Walmart ranking, that's not an opportunity, but it can be in some instances. I've actually outranked both of those big brands before, but they're not easy to outrank most of the time. Ideally, when you are looking over page 1 to see what types of sites are ranking for a keyword that you're considering targeting, you want to see a page that's full of other affiliate sites and just other types of weak sites like forums. That way you have more opportunities to rank. So you might be thinking, well, what are weak sites? How do I know what is a weak site when I'm looking over page 1? This is going to be your Web 2.0s, your forums, your Q&A sites like Yahoo Answers and Quora. So things like Blogspot blogs, forum profiles, forum posts, social media profiles. Basically, it's going to be almost any type of site that allows user-generated content. These are typically your weaker sites. So now that you've looked over page 1 and you see the types of sites that are ranking, you have to determine how difficult will it be for me to rank on page 1. So as you look over page 1, look to see how many spots on page 1 are actually taken by these types of weak sites, and how many of these spots are taken by affiliate sites. So as you come up with this number, this is going to tell you how many spots are at play. How many spots are your opportunity spots for your site in this keyword? So for instance, if you look over page 1, and out of the 10 spots that are available, 6 of those meet your criteria, then 60% of page 1 is up for grab for you. The higher the number of opportunity spots, then the greater your chance of ranking. Of course, that's only part of determining the difficulty that you'll have. You need to actually assess your competition with a deep analysis. So when I do this, I'm only focused on other affiliate sites that are ranking. I'm not doing a deep analysis on social media profiles or Q&A sites or anything like that. I'm looking only at affiliate sites because I know that these are the type of people who are creating content like I am and who are going to probably be doing the type of backlinking and other things that I'm doing. So I look at page 1, and then I go through and I'm going to make a list of all the affiliate sites that I find that are ranking on page 1. I suggest that you copy these into a spreadsheet or a notepad file because you're going to need all of these URLs to do your deep analysis. And what we're going to do with these is that we're going to use them to come up with an average of what is needed to rank on page 1 for this particular keyword that you're assessing. So once we're ready with our list of URLs, what are we going to do with them? What data do we need to look at when we're analyzing the competition? One of the first things that I look at is the word count on each page that's ranking. This gives me kind of a rough idea of how many words it's going to take, roughly, for me to get to page 1. I want to know the keyword density of each ranking page. In some instances, you're going to find that it's super low, and in some instances, it's not really going to matter, and it's going to be high. If you're writing naturally, you're not going to have to worry about keyword density anyway, but I still like to use this as something to compare. What's the content makeup on all of the ranking pages? By this, I mean, when we're looking at these pages, are they all blocks of text? Do they have videos? Do they have images? If they have images and videos, are they unique to this particular site? For instance, did they actually pay to have unique photos and videos created for this post? Or are they using things that anybody can use? Maybe they have special graphics. That's the kind of things we want to see that makes these, is there anything basically that makes this content unique compared to everyone else on page 1? We also need to look at the content quality and the on-page SEO for each page that's ranking. We want to know if it's optimized. Are there H2s optimized for ranking for these keywords? When you read through the content on this page, is the quality so amazing that you think they must have paid for a copywriter? Those are the kind of things, like anything that makes the content stand out itself. We also want to look at the backlink profile for the root domain. Not the ranking page, but the root domain. If you just look at the ranking page, you're going to probably miss much of the backlink, so it's important that we look at the overall backlink profile for the site. While those are the main factors that I consider, and I put those in the spreadsheet as I compile them, there are a few other things that we're going to need to consider here that might affect rankability. They're going to be things like the age of the domains that are ranking on page 1. Do they get a lot of social media engagement? And do they have a lot of on-site engagement in the form of comments from people who visit the site? There's also going to be things like time on page that we're going to have no idea of knowing, if it's good or not. But these are things that could also be affecting why those particular sites and those particular pages are ranking on page 1. You might be thinking, well, what about these difficulty scores that I can get from kwfinder.com or Longtail Pro or any other site? Well, the truth is that you can get these scores from all kinds of tools, and you can use them as a guide, but they're often wrong. Why? Because the only thing that matters here is Google, and Google doesn't provide any difficulty scores, and they're never going to. So while you can use these as a guide, the truth is that you are going to be the best person coming up with a difficulty score. But you have to actually analyze that data that you're compiling in order to determine how difficult this is going to be or not. So you've got all your data, you've compiled all of this information about all these sites that are ranking. You're looking at it and you're thinking, well, how do I know if a keyword is worth it or not for me to rank? The truth is that really depends on you. When you look at this data, does it say you're going to need a ton of backlinks? Does it say you're going to need a ton of PBNs? Does it say you're going to need 15,000 words per page? Does it say that you're only going to need 800 words per page and maybe a handful of backlinks? You basically need to use your data that you've collected to determine, will this take a lot of backlinks? Will this take a lot of content? Will it take a lot of social outreach? And then you need to consider your time and your resources. And then you can say, is this worth it for me? Do I have the time and the resources to compete? You may determine you want to go into the rowing niche, and you determine when you analyze your data that all the people ranking for rowing machines have hundreds of PBN links. That's obviously going to be quite the large expense on your end. So would that large expense be worth it for you? Would the potential payoff in ranking on page 1 for rowing machine be worth it? Obviously, only you can decide that. A keyword that may be worth it to me might not be worth it to you, and vice versa. And then another thing to consider is, let's say that you have 60% of page 1 open up as an opportunity for you, but you only landed at number 10. If you spend a bunch of money on backlinks and content, is that still going to be worth it for you? And if you do end up on page 1 at number 10, do you have the time and resources to fight your way further up page 1? So, in the end, it's really up to you. So we covered compiling all the data and stuff. I just want to go over a few tools that I personally use when I'm doing my own competition analysis. I use Ahrefs just to check out backlinks for the domains. I use this Internet Marketing Ninjas URL to put in, you can put in 5 at a time of the URLs that are your competition to get a quick word count, keyword density, things like that. And Open Link Profiler and Monitor Backlinks I use when I'm trying to look for hidden PBN links. Monitor Backlinks seems to be the best for this right now. However, they are pretty expensive for their monthly fee. They do offer a free trial, so if you're short on cash, I suggest just creating a few different accounts as you need them to check things out. But this is basically how I do all of my competition analysis. And in the next video, we'll go over some live examples of keywords where if I was looking at them, what I would think about them.